Today we're going to be testing out how every single visor fits on my Vicis O2 helmet. Now, I don't actually want to wear my helmet for this entire video because frankly it'll be hard to hear me. So what we'll do is we'll just talk through it. Now, what I already did is I already went and tested every single visor on my Vicis O2 helmet here, and I want to see how well they all fit on here. Now, technically, there's only supposed to be one visor that fits on this helmet, the Oakley Edge Shield. So Vicis actually partnered with Oakley to make that visor specifically for this helmet, the same way Riddell partnered with Oakley to make the eye shield for their new Axiom. So it looks like you're actually starting to see that more and more, that companies are starting to partner to make helmet-specific visors. Now, the reason that's kind of a big deal is a bunch of different companies make visors, and basically by always partnering with Oakley, again, Oakley does make fantastic products, you're effectively eliminating the competition from getting some skin in the game. Less competition means prices go up, quality goes down, not good for anyone. So today we're going to be testing to see if you can get away with wearing any other visor on your Vicis O2 helmet besides the Oakley Edge Shield. All right, let's look at what we're all testing today. The first one is just some random bubbled visor I picked up online. Next, we have the Nike Vapor Eye Shield. We have the Under Armour flat visor. I'm testing all the different ones from Oakley. So we have the Oakley Legacy. We have the Oakley Pro made for the SpeedFlex. And the three that I have the most hope for succeeding is going to be the Next Trend Visor 3 they came out with this year, the Shock Zero G, which fits on pretty much any helmet. And of course, I want to see how the Oakley Edge Shield, which is made for the helmet as our control, fits. Now, before we really get into the nitty gritty of this video, it is important to remember that we are sponsored by Shock Visors. Personally, I love Shock Visors that are on all of our helmets. Now, because they're a channel sponsor, this does get into a tricky area, but rest assured knowing I am not going to lie to you guys just to make a couple bucks. I'm going to tell you guys the exact best visors that are going to fit on this O2 best, regardless of the sponsorship. So to start off, there's a bunch here that we can pretty much just skip through. The random bubbled look I found just fit honestly the worst. The two flat visors, again, they fit okay, but again, they're still a little funky and they sit really, really low. The tabs on these flat visors are going to be what holds it back the most. So this Nike tab on here and this little tab on the Under Armour are going to be what really gets in the way on this Vicis helmet. Two, I thought I might as well try. We're going to be the Oakley Legacy. Again, it did not fit great. And there's the Oakley Pro, which actually fit pretty good. Now, the issue I'm seeing across the board so far, which is causing the most headaches, is going to be this quick connect on the Vicis O2 helmet. Traditionally, with visors being able to sit up a little higher, this is getting in the way, which means all the visors are sitting just a little too low across the board. But we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Now, the next one I actually had hope for was going to be the Next Trend Visor 3. And as you can see, it actually fit on the helmet pretty well and was decently easy to install. The reason I thought it might be good is because it has the same slotted hole design as the Shock Zero G, which I thought might give it a little more wiggle room. But again, it sits a little bit too low on the helmet and is a little bit hard to install. And with Next Trend's clips, it frankly just doesn't fit. Now, with all the options I actually talked about so far, you could definitely cram it in there, push the plastic into place and use some zip ties and zip tie it to the closest bar and call it good. I'm not saying you can't do that. You can do that if you want, if you already have a visor. It's just not going to be the best option if you're zip tying it to some random bar on the side, you're squishing the place, you're putting the plastic under pressure. Really not the best thing to do. But as you can see by all the footage we have of all these different ones, you can pretty much get it done with any of these. We just don't recommend it. All right, the last two we're going to try are going to be the Shock Zero G and then the Oakley Edge to compare. Now, slipping the Shock Zero G in, it does fit really well, and the tab design on this actually fit decently good, probably the best so far. The slotted hole design does make it a little bit easier to get in place. The real reason I think this might actually be an option is a mix of the slotted hole design, but also the Shock visor clips. Because they're this soft, malleable rubber, they actually get into place a lot better than the rest of them. You can see on all these other visors here that they just sit a little too low and it's too hard to get like those Oakley clips, this hard plastic into place when it's really not made where it's supposed to be. But because the Shock clips are mostly rubber, you can actually kind of cram them into place a little bit between these bars and actually get a pretty decent fit. Now, it does fit and you can get it on there, but now the gap between the visor and the face mask are pretty significant, and the Zero G stands for zero gap. That is on the F7 and the SpeedFlex. Definitely does not hold true on this. However, it's still the only one I've been able to get into place and two clips on. Just to compare, we tried the one that they made specifically for it, and here's going to be the money. You can see this visor versus every other visor has this cutout here, which fits around the quick connect on the Vicis O2 helmet that the face mask goes into. That's going to be the secret to this visor. Now, yes, it does wrap all the way around. However, when you actually look at the bubble on it, the bubble shape is pretty similar to like the Next Trend Visor 3, the Shock Zero G, the Oakley Pro visor, but it's just going to be that little bit of difference here with having this cutout that actually allows you to get this visor into place and get the clips on it. If you did not have this quick connect on here, I actually think there'd be 4 visors that would work. Next Trend Visor 3, Oakley Pro visor, Oakley Edge Shield, and Shock Zero G. But because of this, pretty much only one is gonna work perfectly. Now, as you can see on here, this is a different face mask than most of the footage you're looking at. And that's because I wanted to do another test just to make sure it was not face mask dependent. I took all the visors off, I switched out the face mask, put a new face mask on and tried it on there as well. And I pretty much got these same results. The Next Gen Visor 3 fit okay, and the Shock Visor fit, but you can see it's just a little bit misaligned. And the Oakley Edge Shield was by far the best fitting. Now, my recommendation, if I were you, what would I do? Pains me to say it, but I'd probably have to go with the Oakley Edge Visor on this one. Now, normally we always talk about the Shock Zero G because it fits across every other helmet and it allows you that flexibility to switch back and forth between F7, Speed Flex, you know, and at those helmets that are on the $400 or $500 price point, maybe you are doing that. Maybe you are switching between more helmets, and that's why we recommend it for its versatility. Now, yes, this will fit on the helmet if you use some zip ties or you cram it into place. However, if you're having to really adjust the plastic to get it fit in there is some liability of this thing cracking if you put, you know, a lot of tension under it to get it into place. And if you're not using the provided clips, you're using something like zip ties, it's just a safety hazard. If you're gonna spend $1,000 on the Vicis O2, you're probably not gonna be switching out of it anytime soon. So I'd probably pick up the Oakley Edge Shield to go with it. Now, yes, this visor is $130, more than double the cost of most of the visors we talked about, but I'm assuming if you can afford one, you can afford the other. So there you go. There's gonna be our recommendation on what visors fit on the Vicis O2, which one you should go with. If you wanna check out any of these visors, we'll have them linked down below. And if you haven't watched our videos, we did the exact same style for the F7 and the Speed Flex you can check out as well. See which visor fits best. All right, I'll check you next time.